We are Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
Yo, 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 welcome back to Cactus Wrestling.
Are tech falls the new pins? We got some interesting data to talk about, especially with it being easier now with the 3-point takedown rule in effect for this upcoming season to get a tech fall. So we're going to have an interesting debate about should tech falls be worth more than they currently are, and maybe should the threshold for major decisions and tech falls be increased given that takedowns are now worth more. There's more opportunity to score points there. And so before we get into any of that, I did some interesting data here. I averaged the past 5 Division I NCAA wrestling tournaments. Okay. On average, there were about 618 matches at the tournament on a given year. How many matches do you think ended in pins versus how many ended in tech falls? Average.
Oh,
I'm gonna say 8 pins. No, wait. Well, this past year there was a lot
are you
of
saying
pins.
8 pins per tournament?
So on the average NCAA tournament, there's 618 matches.
Yeah.
How many end in pins and how many end in tech falls?
I'm gonna say like 40 pins and 3 tech falls,
3 tech falls?
maybe
I'm
5.
gonna say like 12 techs and like 33 pins. I feel like there was a lot of pins this last year.
All right. And the viewers right there, hold on to your guesses. We're going to make you wait until a little bit later in the video before I reveal the results.
Oh.
So
The nerve
stick
of this
around.
guy.
Stick around.
Anticipation.
Yeah, stick around for the results on those. So let's just dive right into it. 3-point takedowns. Everyone's been talking about that, but no one has really been talking about the impact that that's going to have on bonus point matches. Making, you could have a 7-point move. That's one away from a major decision.
Yeah, take down to back, right?
So should the disparity of majors and techs be changed given there's a 3-point takedown?
Well, yeah, I mean, one move could get you almost a major. Like that's, I kind of think the threshold probably should get adjusted, or maybe they'll realize that after this year that it probably should be adjusted. Because that affects team score. If it's easier to get to, like you could do the exact same thing, but you have more points. Now now this is worth. You're already at a major, or you're already at a tech. Like that could affect the team race.
Because a major is worth 1 bonus point at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Tech falls 1.5, and a pin is 2.
Right. It's a game changer for sure. Because I mean. That's a 5, 6, or 7-point move. You're it's seamless. Like to get to the bonus point, team points for winning. Like it makes it so much easier. Like I'm pretty sure what was it, like Bo Nickel was in a video I saw was talking about how like 3-point takedown. No, I could get 7 takedowns on anybody. I could tech anybody with 7 takedowns. Like he's recognizing that it's an easier feat to accomplish. So it's definitely, I feel like it's going to definitely cause some issues of sorts, like in regards to that, team point wise.
You could theoretically tech someone with 3 feet to backs.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like 3 takedowns, full set of 4 swipes for 4 points each. You got 3 7-point moves, and it's like, I win 21-2.
That's nuts.
And yet that's only 5 in a dual meet.
Yeah,
5 points and only 1.5 in a tournament setting. So I mean, should techs be worth as much of a pin? Let's get to that point. Because like you ask this question to any wrestler, what is harder to do? Tech someone or pin someone?
I've always said techs are harder than pinning. I think
I feel like techs do not show up as often So in that respect, it probably is harder to tech a guy because like you could hit just like a throw and get the guy on his back and pin him. It's not always that you just turned the guy. Like if it was purely based on can I pin the guy via turning him or tech him, that's a whole different conversation. But like just getting a pin because a pin can happen in a flurry and like you just catch the guy on his back. So I think a tech probably is harder to achieve previously. Now, uh, I think they might be about even.
The way I've always looked at it is you can accidentally pin someone, and it's happened where you have a defensive pin. There's no such thing as a defensive tech, and so like, you know, it's rare. But let's say I mean, this has probably never happened, but in theory, you could have 10 wins and all 10 of them be matches you were losing, and you hit a defensive pin on, and got lucky 10 times.
Oh, that's
you
true.
cannot have 10 fluke techs in a row.
Yeah. And like, especially if you look at like dominance, like if you see someone's teched everybody they've wrestled, like I feel like you're gonna be like shitting yourself. Like
even the recent example, like I'm gonna pick on Spencer Lee here for a second. He was pinned by Matt Ramos. That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah.
If Matt Ramos teched Spencer Lee, that would have been bananas.
Yeah, that's true. That would have been like I mean everyone
like, what just happened?
Mind blown from just the pin, but like the fact that Lee lost, but yeah if he got teched, that brain does not compute.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's in my mind, like a tech shows more dominance. If you can, pinning someone is great, and it's asserting your will and everything that coaches talk about. But if you're tagging someone, like that's utter control and just you couldn't stop.
That's you just know how to score on the guy.
The difference is with a tech, you're getting the guy on his back multiple times, whereas a pin, you only need to get him on his back once and hold him there in the right position.
Yeah, you sealed the deal on that first go.
We see a lot of scrambles and a lot of tosses that guys go for a big move and they just end up on their backs and in a tough position. Even some of the best wrestlers get pinned, like Carter Starachi pinned Mikey Labs in last year's finals.
That's true.
He did it. He asserted his dominance and forced that.
Yeah, pin. On a Granby roll, I'm sure.
He was in his head mentally. He was like mind games psychologically. He's like, I'm gonna get you to Granby and I'm gonna pin you. He's 4D chess out there.
Okay, I don't know about that, but
I'll die on this hill.
So it's going to be interesting next year, especially with team races, with the major decisions, because you get one bonus point for a major. And like we were saying, one move can get you pretty much, let's say you do a 7-point move and then you ride the guy out for a riding time point. That's 8 points. All you have to do is not give up any points for the rest of the match. Easier said than done. But
if that's true, though. One move could,
So should the threshold be increased from an 8-point deficit to maybe like a 10-point? Does that need to be changed?
Definitely.
Really?
I think that 10 makes more sense with the current new rules. I mean, if you can have 7 points off of one move, it's crazy. I mean, look at high school. High school only has a 3 count and it's a 2-point takedown. A 5-point move is huge, and then you still have to score additional points just to get to 8. You could theoretically have a big throw, get your swipes, ride the guy out. He could, you can cut him in the second. You get your escape in the third. He gets 1 point. You get 1 point. You have a 7-point move. It's 8-1 plus your 1 point for riding him out in the first period, and then you win off of one move. You win by major.
Well, and also just from math perspective here, the previous rules were you could get a 6-point move and an 8-point threshold. That's that one move is 75% of the way getting to a major. Now you gave an extra point for a takedown. You're now at 87.5% of the way to a major off of one move. That's pretty significant. 12%, 12.5% more, like off of doing the exact same thing you already did. Like,
so with that in mind, should a tech fall remain at 15 points? No.
It's tough because I feel like the guys that are teching people are gonna it could be 50, and they're going to tech them regardless. Like some of the guys out there that are teching guys in these, NCAA matches are just so much further advanced. I mean, look how many techs Spencer Lee had. This is a guy that could have said, okay, I have to get to 23 points, random number. He would have hit it. He would have just said, okay, I'll take him down. I'll put him to his back, put him to his back, put him to his back. Need more points? I'll just keep doing it. So in that point, I would like to see it be raised, but I think that the guys that are going to get text are going to get text regardless.
I mean, from a fairness standpoint, I think it should probably get raised, like proportionally from what it was. I understand what you're saying, and kind of it makes a good point. That it is likely that if you were on your road to a tech previously, you're probably going to be on your road to a tech anyhow, especially if it's easier now.
Well, you have also those wrestling purists who don't even like the 3-point takedown change. And so changing the threshold for majors and techs, that could be overload. That could be too much change.
It's a new sport now. It's not even a sport I used to do.
We're going to have to see how the data backs that up. But
season.
I do recognize, and the numbers back it up, that a tech fall is much rarer than a pin. And I'll get to the numbers in just a second here, but I know you guys were saying off video how a tech should be almost more valuable than a pin. So what would you guys suggest?
7 points.
Ooh.
7 points. I wouldn't say 7 points for a tech if the current rule set with like a 3-point takedown and 15-point threshold. It can't be worth more than a pin. But
I would have gone if you had this original rules, like I'm talking high school rules. 2-point takedown, 3-point near fall. I would say a tech should be worth 7 and a pin should be worth 6.
Or why not just flip them and make a pin worth 5? And
because then people lose their minds that a pin is now 5.
So they would lose their minds that a tech is now worth 7 and more than
just a pin? Increase all the team points.
So my problem with the pin being less than a tech is that the objective of wrestling is to go for the pin.
That's true. Yeah.
So like, why would I ever pin someone when I could just rack up points?
I think to my response to that is you're not going to. What is the grand goal of wrestling? Like, what is the top level in you guys' opinion? Top level of wrestling. So what comes after college?
Oh, are you going for the world title or an Olympic title?
Yep. And what are they doing? Teching.
Oh,
there's never pins there. If you have the ability and you have the skill to take a guy down and put him to his back and take him down and put him to his back, that's only going to help you at the international level.
And it's even easier to get a pin in freestyle or Greco. Like,
I mean, we're the only country that does folk style. No one else knows how to pin. So anytime like we get a funky situation going, we pin somebody.
Yeah.
But if you have the ability to like Gable them, like Gable Stevenson, who pins no one, but was teching people at heavyweight.
Yeah.
First off, it's going to build your conditioning because you can't just win a match in 10 seconds with a half. You have to constantly score points, and you have to constantly get good at what's going to be important at the international level, which is your neutral game. So that's why, in my opinion, even though the pin for years and years and years and years was the ultimate goal of wrestling, the sport's evolved where more people are trying to push themselves to the international stage for freestyle, Greco, world Olympic titles, and nobody's really pinning out there. And I think the sport's evolved where it's like, pinning's utter dominance, but, maybe a tech, which is what everyone strives for at international. I mean, we were talking about U20s. Mitchell Messenbrink, 43-1. No one's like, oh, but how many pins did he have? Dude had 4 techs.
Well, that's the debate between freestyle and folk style, with there being 3 positions versus 2.
But everyone's moving towards freestyle. I mean, we're seeing it. People are talking about, the U17 teams and our super young guys that are doing well in the international and world stages. Like that's where we're moving towards. And I don't think freestyle is going away, but you ask any college wrestler that's worth their salt, they prefer freestyle. Yanni, Spencer Lee, Carter. I mean, these are all guys that go on shows and they say, I love folk style, but freestyle is my dominant style. It's my favorite style. And these are the guys that are dominating anyway with their neutral game and their mat wrestling abilities. How many guys did Yanni pin last year?
Did
Yeah,
he
he
pin
didn't really
anyone?
pin. Yeah,
Spencer Lee.
Well, no, Spencer Lee pinned
Spencer
some
Lee
people.
pinned a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was bigger. I think he had more techs than majors, though.
I think he had a
Well,
pretty good pin streak there for a while, though.
I don't know. Well,
well, let's dive into the numbers right here because these are pretty interesting. So, viewers, give you one last chance. So there are 600 on average, 618 matches at an NCAA wrestling tournament, Division One. How many of those do you think ended in pins versus techs? And then this is an average on the last 5 tournaments. So you said around what, 30 pins and 15 techs or something?
Yeah, I said like 30 or 40 pins and like 5 techs.
I think I went a little bit higher on the techs and a little lower on the pins.
All right, so
Yeah.
618 matches, 65 ended in pin.
Okay.
That is 10.5% of matches at the highest level. These are all national qualifiers.
Oh, shoot.
10.5% of the matches end in pins, which is pretty crazy. That's high.
Yeah.
Tech faults, on the other hand, 20. 20 out of 618. That's 3.2% end in tech falls. With this last season, 2023, there were only 9.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Do you think if a tech fall was worth more people would go for it?
Yeah, no, everyone's going for the pin because it's worth the most.
Exactly. In a tournament setting, do you feel like this is, if you reversed it and said, hey, for argument's sake, a pin is now worth 5 and a tech is worth 6, do you think you'd see those numbers get a lot, think they'd flip? Do you think they'd get a lot closer? Do you think you'd still see the guys?
I feel like the guys that are capable of getting techs are going to, instead of trying to pin a guy, they're going to be trying to tech him.
But I don't think that you'd see as many techs still. I still think you wouldn't get 65 techs. I think you'd probably get closer to, 40 maybe, but
yeah.
I still think it's, and this is going to sound crazy, I still think it's easier to pin someone than to tech someone.
Yeah, because a pin can come from anywhere. You could be just scrambling and then you hop over right, and then now you're, hey, look at that, scoop the head, and I've got you pinned. So
yeah.
What's also interesting too, major decisions, 105. So that's 17% of all matches end in major decision. Interesting. 2023, there were 62 pins, 88 majors. So there are almost as many pins as there were majors.
That's kind of crazy, especially because the pins being the most valuable. Like,
yeah.
So I think that number is going to go up next year for majors, at least. I don't know about pin or
majors for sure.
Majors should definitely go up.
Yeah, majors easy. Techs, I would like to think so, but.
So it's definitely interesting. It seems a little bit backwards, seeing as techs are definitely the hardest to achieve, and yet they're the second most valuable scoring, whereas pins, I mean, that's the name of the game, to pin to win. But if you look at the numbers, it's interesting. It makes you think a little bit.
I'm going to petition the NCAA to make a 7-point tech pin.
Oh, where if the match is over, it's just a matter of if you tech them or pin them?
No, so you have to, you're about to tech somebody, and then you keep them on their back, and then you pin them anyway. So it's like you win by it's more than a 15-point spread for the tech, but you also get the pin. So it's a tech pin, 7 points.
Oh, interesting.
So that
heard it here first.
you put him on his back to break the 15-point threshold, and then you pin him.
Yes.
That would be, I mean,
that would be the most dominant.
Make that 8 points, man. That's not going to come around like ever.
Watching
not ever, but like that's a hard thing to pull off.
Watching guys like Bo Bassett and Jax Forrest, like this is what they're doing. Like, and when they're wrestling other high schoolers and not, college guys.
Right.
They're about to tech these guys, and they have them on their back, and they look at the scoreboard, and they're like, okay, I'll cut him one more time. And they take him down to his back, and then they pin him, and it's like, okay, you won 19-3. And you also got the pin. So you got 6 points. And I was like, that's a tech pin, baby. That should be worth 7.
I think you're underselling. 7 might be too low for that.
Tech pin, you get 6 for the pin and 5 for the tech.
Yeah, 11 there you go. You get 11.
And the other guy has to give you a singlet. Now you're hanging up on your wall.
The other guy gives you the singlet. Oh.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? Should techs and majors, should the threshold be changed with the addition of 3-point takedowns? Is a tech the new pin Drop it all down in the comments down below. This is an interesting, fun debate here. And we're interested to see what you guys think down below.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.